الحمد لله حمد الشاكرين وأتم الصلاة والتسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وأحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها يا رب العالمين آمين. ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm starting a new series of about 8 videos under the title The Last Station. These videos are from a German revert engineer, Marcel Kraf, who in my opinion has a very effective approach of bringing to the listener and reader the understanding of life's belief, of life's important issues, of life's and beliefs important issues. Issues that I think are primarily neglected or even rejected by many. I found it more effective than reading volumes of books. It goes directly to the core of issues and pointedly challenges us to take a stand, a realistic and commonsensical stand. In his speech, he gives examples and comparisons that would make us ponder and draw conclusions that any sane human being would find it easy and logical to accept. Part 1 of this series is a concise and convincing presentation on the fleeting nature of life and how we do not place our attention to the most sure thing that will one day, sooner or later, come to us, and that is death. The original videos are in his native language, German language. Fortunately, someone has translated these videos to Arabic, and in turn I'm translating them from Arabic to English for our benefit, inshallah. Some of these videos are lengthy, but are worth the time and effort. Enjoy. Now let's start with part 1. The Last Station. Imagine yourself returning from work. You rest a bit, cook food to eat, drink a coffee, and then you spend the night with your friends. At about 8 p.m., you watch a movie, perhaps your favorite movie is playing. After that, you lay down on your bed. You wake up next morning to find yourself in a moving train, and right in front of you, your breakfast is ready. What would you do? Do you simply start eating the breakfast in front of you? Or prior to doing that, you ask, who brought you to this train? And why would this be good for you, if any? And also you would ask, where is this train heading? Now imagine this is not happening to you only, but the same thing is happening to many others with you, who simply start eating their breakfast. You say to yourself, then this is nothing serious, and you follow suit. After breakfast, you start conversing with others and resume discussing on things like hobbies, desires, future plans, and none of you ask what you were doing inside this train. The next day you wake up in your train and you find no breakfast waiting for you. You ask yourself, then, I will move and get some water. For that, you have to work as a waiter, and you start a new employment for yourself. After about 2 years, you become the head of waiters. And after about 4 years, perhaps, you will be the general manager of the restaurant. While you're employed and working on the road in this train, one day you buy a bigger trailer for yourself. You get married, and you become a father. Your kids grow up with time, and they too get married, move to trailers of their own, and in turn become parents. This becomes their lifestyle with no other alternatives. Same happens to them, to the second generation. They're born in these trailers and lead similar lives. One of these days you plan for your grandson's wedding, dressed up with suit and tie. You head to the wedding ceremony when all of a sudden the train stops. The door opens and someone directs you to get off the train. What do you mean, you ask? All of us are getting off soon. He emphatically says, no, no, no. Only you will get off here. What kind of feeling will you have being forced to depart the train? Will it be with pleasant expectation? Or will you be in a frightened feeling and expectations? What if I told you for some time you've been in a similar train? This train is called life. And as is customary with all trains, it reaches to its final stop. If you do not want to get off the train with such an awful feeling, then you have no other recourse except to ponder on and ask now or later on your situation inside this train and why this incident was good for you. This, of course, is not an ordinary happening. However, human beings do not ask themselves this question. Could it be a typical animalism? For only animals would behave and act so. Imagine also yourself doing this to a horse. You go to a grazing ground, you wait until the horse goes to sleep, and while asleep, you transport the animal. You wait until the morning and you place a container full of grass in front of the horse. What do you think the horse would do? It will simply start eating the grass. You may place a 5-star meal in front of a human being, but would not take a bite until he or she knows why you brought the food to them. This is what separates a human from an animal. They don't accept such an issue as is, but ask for a reason. Animals lay down anywhere. This horse in his pasture land with enough food and a shelter is content with what it has. It would not ask for anything more. Let's look at most human beings. They have more than 100 times of what they need to sustain their lives. However, they're never satisfied and never content. How can they be? Ask anyone of what he or she is doing now. Whatever it is, in a coffee shop, driving a car, talking over a phone, walking over, or anything else they may be doing. Ask them of why they're doing it. They'll be able to give you an answer, but at the same time, ask them of the one thing they would like to achieve and secure in life, from early on in their life. More often than not, the answer would be, I don't know. Don't know why I live. Imagine if you do not have any clue of why you do the work you perform at work from 9 to 5. It will lose meaning if some purpose is not associated with it. Now, imagine that you're not only doing this routine from 9 to 5, but 24 hours per day for the length of your life. In Greek mythology, Sisyphus, one of Greek's mythology heroes, was punished by the deity. He was ordered to push a rock up to the top of the mountain, and before he approached the top, he would leave it to slide and drop to the bottom for him to again start the cycle with no end. What makes this punishment unbearable is not that the mountain is high or the rock is heavy, but this task was a meaningless and purposeless assignment. The lives of most humans are not apparently different from that of Sisyphus' assignment. What do we do when we find ourselves entangled in meaningless acts? We reject and we resort to the strongest drug there is, consumption. This goes further to where consumption becomes the primary reason of our existence. A second reason given is, the goal of my life is to be happy. Happiness, acceptance, and endorsement. There is a global industry that is bent on keeping this situation as is. They have trademarks, TV programs, advertisements, all to train people from early on to be loyal consumers and not to ask questions beyond what to buy. An iPhone from Apple or a Galaxy from Samsung. Any deeper question is not desirable. This is an example of a human that acts similar to an animal. A human that does not see any greater objective for existence other than to quench his lusts and materialistic desires. This creates an ideal consumer. What happens when this person loses his job? When money to satisfy the routine consumption habit is not available, or when that person is in old age and is bedridden. Or say a young person, a consumer at 25, smashes his car to a tree and is paralyzed. When these drugs consumption is easily not available, or is available but in less dose than before, people will feel hopeless and in despair. They will all suffer from withdrawal symptoms from this addiction, consumption. Or for a 25-year-old, after a brief visit to a doctor, to be told, sorry, you have a late-stage cancer. At best, you have 7 to 8 days to live. Suddenly, panic and fear will ensue and prevail. But why? Is it because only 7 to 8 days are left of her life? Why can't we feel that urgency, the fear and panic now? The only sure moment that we know will come to us is the one that we ignore. This moment sooner or later will come and become a reality. This is the clear contradiction we see in human beings. We see a 19-year-old student complete their trainings and plan their future life and retirements. No one is certain if they would reach retirement age. We see others signing contracts for anti-theft, fire, and other types of insurance. None of them know if they will ever need it. The only sure thing that each one of us knows will happen, we ignore. Let's imagine also one afternoon you're sitting in a park with your neighbor grilling, when all of a sudden there appears a black bird with 10-meter long wings. It descends and snatches away your neighbor. You will definitely lose your nerves. Now imagine that this incident does not happen to your neighbor only. Few days apart, this happens to another one of your neighbors, and eventually you read in a newspaper that this incident happens frequently to others. How will life be in your neighborhood? There will be an end to social life in your neighborhood. People will be restricted from going out and will be captives in their houses. These birds are actually present in our lives. It's the heart attack, car accidents, fire, etc. If a person then asks this important question and takes a sound decision, they will know that this life has no meaning. Who then can answer this question, that why are we here and whether there is value to our lives? The answer can only come from the one who created life, Allah. The end. Enjoy. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.